just step by step, I continue falling in love with what swine veterinarians can do and contribute to the swine industry. And I'm not talking just about the in the field, but also like the many things that we can do with research, with inspections at the slaughter plant, and with the government and so on.
Welcome, everybody, to the Swine at Canada podcast. I am Dan Columbus, and I will be your host for today's episode. And with me today, I have Dr. Ana María Arboleda, who is a swine veterinarian with Demeter Veterinary Services in Ontario. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Looking forward to the discussion today. But before we get into that, I'll just ask you to give a little bit of introduction to yourself, knowing that, we are going to get more into your background and your area after your introduction.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Colombia. I come from a city called Envigado. And it's very interesting because I have never owned any pigs, but I really love the swine industry. So I started my university back in Colombia, and I got graduated in 2018. And I had the opportunity to start working right away with pigs as well. So, so far I have accumulated more than 7 years working in different areas with the swine industry.
Well, we definitely need more people who have that interest in swine. So I'm glad to see that you're here and working for the swine industry and helping us out with that. Like I said before, a lot of our discussion today is going to be your experiences and things that you've learned over your years in working. So I think we'll just start, what initially inspired you to pursue this career as a swine vet, knowing like I said, not a lot of people choose that route, so it's an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure, Dan. So that was back in 2012 when I just started my vet school. And it's funny because on the fifth day of vet school, I got to see this class that is called Introduction to Medicine. And we have like this very specific class about swine medicine. And honestly, I felt amazed about the amount of investment, the innovation, and the development of that the industry had by the time. And I think that really inspired me. And I got curious about what was going on with the swine industry. And step by step, I just kept falling in love in many ways. And it's not just being like the practitioner in the fields, but the many different pathways that a swine veterinarian can take. We not only have the experience in the field, like going to the farms and helping producers, but we can also be at the slaughterhouses, like working with governments, working at the labs, doing research. So I say like, well, I just don't want to be the puppy vet. I really want to explore more. And I bought it completely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always love the fact that there's so many options available for us when we get into these careers. I'm just wondering, you saw that inspiration and you saw that. Do you think that is something that we could do a better job of in that, by day 5 but even maybe a little bit longer, to just show people what options they will have in this career?
Yeah, for sure. I think many vets, when they start their careers, they usually do it because they love animals, and they always picture this doctor with this white cover and with the puppies, and like being the doctor that is just in the hospital, but they don't know the many realities that many other veterinarians live every single day. So I think actually Canada is pretty advanced in that one, because I've seen that the students have the opportunity to go during summer to do these summer jobs, and we actually have two that they come with us to do a day with a veterinarian, or they also perform like things that are related to our industry. So definitely like showing that there's different ways of practicing in swine veterinary. I think that can encourage more students.
Yeah. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about, how you developed your passion for the field once you decided that this is where you were going to go?
Yeah, for sure. So, like everything started back in the days of the university. After I knew that this was a field that I wanted to start working for, I started just being part of a study group that is called the HESPO, which is like the group of study of swine medicine. And we were able to get support from the university to go to different conferences, as well to bring speakers and to show us like a different reality from the academic setup. And then as well, I said like, I really want to know more. I really want to get to the next level. And I started volunteering in one of the laboratories in my university. And that was very special to me because that took me to produce several papers that also allowed me to travel around my country. And I think that really encouraged me more. I said like, people don't know that within the swine industry there is a lot of resources and a lot of opportunities if you really are willing to try it out. So that's what I did. And yeah, I got even an internship with Iowa State University while I was finishing my university, and I went there, and then I saw a whole different picture of an industry that is like a reference for the rest of the world. And then I said like, well, like I really want to continue doing this. I got graduated. I started working as well with starter plans, with the commercial part, like doing sales. I came to Saskatchewan. That was like the first time that I moved out of my country. And the industry was the one that gave me that opportunity. I worked in farm for 2 years, and then I end up having the opportunity to become a swine vet here in Ontario, thanks to the swine industry. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, great opportunities. So you mentioned a number of different opportunities. Maybe you don't have to go into depth in all of them, but maybe highlight some of the key opportunities that you've been able to achieve because of your decision to go into the swine veterinary medicine.
I think the biggest one has been this last one, which allowed me to become a vet here in Ontario. Because things that I had the previous experience in the past years that really helped me to apply to a restricted license. And then I got to skip all of the steps that usually foreign veterinarians have to apply to when they come to Canada and they want to validate a title. So I feel that this has been the greatest, like having part of the Canadian work experience before back in Saskatchewan and then bringing that here, plus my degree from Colombia. I think that was the greatest one.
Yeah, no, excellent. So I guess we can go, in your role as a swine vet, how has this contributed to your skill set and your professional development over the years?
Well, I think out of my 7 years of experience, four have been being a licensed vet because the other three have been working in production itself. And I think definitely that ability that veterinarians have to have regarding observation, analysis, and troubleshooting. I think pretty much veterinarians are basically like professional investigators. So you have to have the ability to link an issue to several different causes, because we know that we not only have one thing going on in farms, it's usually multifactorial. So I think that's very interesting. And honestly, on the other side as well, I cannot forget to mention about that one, working as a part of the production team and as well as a quality controller back in Saskatchewan. I think that really taught me how a day in a farm it looks like, because you have to be able to understand that sometimes the protocols that you're offering to a farm, there might not be the best for what's going on a daily basis, or if what I'm really suggesting is what is they're going to be capable of doing, and also understanding like, okay, so if this is not the best, then what I'm going to bring to the table for them to really make the difference. So I think both experiences have been like very important to my professional life.
Yeah, I was going to say we have the same thing, in the research field and stuff that, unless you have the barn cred, you've done the production, you understand what's going on, what their needs are, you don't really get it. And I
Yeah,
think they're
it's
a little,
true.
they're a little less willing to listen to you if you don't have that experience.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes you come like when you start talking to researchers, which like their part in the industry is so valuable, so important because you guys are bringing innovation to the field, right? But as well, it's just like, are you sure that this is going to be applicable to the daily day in a farm? Like, do you really know if that's possible? Like, but that's
Yeah,
good. That's good. It's good to know. Yeah.
yeah. Do you find like when you're working with producers, if a protocol doesn't seem to be working or whatever, are they willing to come to you and say, "Hey, this isn't working. Can we do something else?" Or, or is communication lacking at all?
No, for sure. I think we have great communication with our producers, and I feel that since they know that many of us have very good background in the farms, they don't hesitate to say like, yeah, my guys are way too busy, like we cannot do that, like how can we change it, or what if I try this out. Like it's nice because they're able to deal with you about like, okay, is this the best option for me, like do you have any more options, like what can we change, or so it's great to have that communication with them for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess maybe looking back at your years in the industry and working, maybe what are two very memorable moments to you that kind of stick out in your memory?
I think many of them have been related to farms because like working in a farm, honestly, like just by understanding the animal behavior, like what really works, what really like you see the progress of the animals. Many times we as vet don't have the ability to follow the treatment through the days, but you as a barn staff, you can see that every single day once you give a shot of something or you make any changes, you can see the progression, and I think that's very important. I think every single day in a farm is a different scenario, a different issue that you need to solve, so I think that's the most remarkable one from all of it.
Yeah. Is there something, we'll go the other side now, so is there one where you're just like, oh, I don't like how that went, or was a really big learning moment for you to be like, I don't want to repeat that. I want to make sure I do it well.
Well, it's funny because I literally have been in all of the steps that require people in a farm. So I remember that there was this time that I had to ship animals out, and loading trucks is not funny. I think you come the wildest person in the world when that happens, and you really have to deal with the behavior of the pigs. but I'm happy that I was able to show myself that I know how to load trucks.
That's good. I mean, if maybe more people will bring you on to help you with that. I don't know if you want to do that because I know
Oh,
loading is one of those
no,
things.
I have no problem. There was this time that I went to this farm. We arrived just in the time that they were loading their coals, and the guy was having trouble. And guess who helped them? I said, like, I don't mind. I learned this before, and then I loaded all of the trucks. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. We come up with this is how you should load and all the other stuff, and it looks all good. But it's like you said, you find out who people are when you put them in the loadout.
Yes.
So very good.
Yeah.
So I think the other part of obviously this being in this career is staying up to date and making sure that you're aware of the latest updates or what's going on, right? So how do you stay current with the advancements in vet medicine, and even specifically with maybe some of the continuous learning that you've done?
Well, I feel honestly that Demeter has supported me a lot with that. allowing me to participate on international conferences like the ones offered by the American Association of Swine Veterinarians, or the ones that we have here in Ontario, like the Ontario Association of Swine Veterinarians, or the ones offered as well for the CISB. And I think also like reading ongoing research projects, I think it's very important. Channels like this one, podcasts as well. Like anytime that I'm driving, if I don't want to listen to my music, I definitely play on any podcast that I am interested on. And I think having mentors as well within the company, that's very important, because sometimes you get very excited about a topic and that sounds like very interesting, but having a senior person who tells you like, we tried that doesn't work, move on. That's also important. So all of those
Yeah.
resources. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, it sounds like you've had a great time, even with the loadout. So that's good. And for those that are listening, you won't be able to see, but I can see at least 2 pig tattoos. So I can guarantee that you do seem to be very dedicated
Yes.
to the industry. So before we get to our final 3 questions, I'll just ask if you want the audience to get a take-home message, or what you want them to get from this episode.
Well, for sure, I really want to encourage people to show this to young veterinarians that they're just trying to figure out what they want in life. I think this is an industry that is worth it. If you love driving, if you love like I don't know, seeing the beautiful landscape, if you love working with farmers, because that's also important. If you love to have challenge, because I think that's one of the keys from our industry. Every single year, there's something new that is hitting the industry, and we need to update ourselves. And probably you won't find that in any other industry. So I really want more people like falling in love with this, with the pig farming. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Hopefully, you can inspire some people to get involved. And I would just reiterate that message, that it is a very resilient industry that changes constantly to meet demands. And, that's one of the things that keeps it exciting. So definitely
Yes.
agree with that. So, okay, well, before I let you go, we have our final 3 questions.
It's time for our famous 3. Swine Veterinary Partners offers a full range of animal health and production services to Canadian pork producers. We approach health management through personalized solution with concern for profitability while taking into account performance and the well-being of your animals.
Our first question is, what is your favorite swine-related resource?
Okay, I think I heard one person answering this in the same way, but I am going to change it a little bit. And honestly, I love to ask the senior vets or any other vet that have more experience than me, because books are very nice and they are a great resource. But I think that it is always nice to have an information from a reliable person that have seen way more things than you, and they can tell you, yes, that can look alike, or no, it can be presented in many different ways, or there can be more things going on behind that. So the senior vets are my favorite for sure.
Yeah. And they'll know the stuff that's not in the books either. So
No, it's true.
Yeah. Okay. Our second question is a favorite book or resource outside of pigs.
Well, I really love to read like any kind of books, but there is one that really taught me about basic emotional intelligence, and I think that's something that we as professional we also need to work on, and it is called Master Your Emotions by Divao Maurice. I think that's the name. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well, but I think it's a very good resource to understand emotions. And I think that's important because at the workplace, the last thing that you want to be is emotional. You really need to control that to be professional. And also while communicating with difficult people, then that can happen in the farms for sure. So yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, good. And our last one, when you go back, look at your career with mentors that you've had or producers that you've worked with, what is a characteristic that you think makes the successful ones particularly successful?
I have actually 5 characteristics that I feel that they're very needed in a person. And
Okay.
the first one is curiosity, flexibility, collaboration, positive attitude, and passion.
All great. I'm not going to disagree with any of those.
Okay.
But yeah, very good. Okay, well, it's been great having you on the show. Good information. I love to see the passion and the love that you have for the industry, and hopefully we can inspire some people to get involved. So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope we inspire people too.